All right. Good afternoon and good day to everyone. You're watching Makoga Enterprises. Yeah, we'll be discussing a very nice and interesting topic, which I've had this always. So I said, let me do this video so we get to understand exactly what is the lesson we should be studying today, which is known as LOTO. LOTO, which is called LOTO. So first and foremost, you need to understand exactly what is LOTO or what is lockout and tagout. So when we say LOTO, which is the abbreviation now in full will be lockout and tagout. So when we talk of lockout, it's just providing a locking mechanism or providing a lock to a system. Now you're restricting different personnel not to operate that system. It's very important. And when I talk of operation, I'm talking of either putting on the system off or putting the system on. So you're preventing personnel not to operate the system, which you are locking it out. So now when we talk of tag out, which is TO, it is now providing a physical tag or for providing some kind of information saying that the system should not be operated. So you'll be the only one to operate the system when need arise. It's very important. So we'll be discussing what is LOTO or lockout and tagout. Now let's move into what is isolation. So for example, you might be carrying out or wanting to do lockout and tagout on a system. Now you need the system either isolated or you keep your system live. Now when we talk of isolation now is physical separation of your system to the source. So once you separate the system to the source, you have isolated the system. So the original idea about isolating the system is to ensure that the total energy of the system will be equal to zero. This is very important. And that's the whole idea about isolation. So when we isolate the system, it's keeping or ensuring that the total energy of the system will be equal to zero. But is that being met? That is the question.
We would say a better action, but it go take. That is the question.
So at times, or often at times, when we do isolation of a system, we will again maybe have some kind of energy still left back in the system, which is known as residual energy. Now, it takes us now to understand why do we isolate? Like I said, the purpose of isolation is to ensure that the total energy of a system should be equal to zero. That's the whole idea about it. Now, it takes us now to be able to understand the different states of systems. How can we keep our different systems? So we can keep it either in a live state or in a dead state. So when we talk of live state is a state whereby we keep our system energy present. That means our system has an energy to it. Now we say the system is in a live state. But when we talk of dead state, it is when the total energy of the system is equal to zero, which becomes safe for us to carry out our intervention work, carrying out maintenance work, or perhaps installation of any kind of systems that you're doing. So when you keep your system on a dead state, it ensures that the total energy equal to zero. At that time, you ensure that your safety is guaranteed. It's very important. Now, we'll move to another point now, which is de-energization. Why do we de-energize the system? I give an example of you're driving your car and then you get to a certain point whereby you switch off your car engine. Perhaps went out while coming in again, you try to switch it on, it is not turning on. So you require someone now to you provide a link or a jumping wire which you have inside your car. Just get it and then jump. Connect from your battery, positive and negative terminals, and then you connect to another person's positive and negative terminals of his battery. So once you connect that, what happens? You start your car, it's now on. Most of the times you find out that we take these two different conductors and then touch the two of them together. What are we doing? We are de-energizing the left back energy or the residual energy. In the same way, electricians might be using a conductor, taking it to the ground. Now we are removing as well the residual energy and taking it to the ground. It's very important. Now, we need to understand as well the procedures. of carrying out lockout and tagout. Like I said, what is lockout and tagout? Lockout and tagout is preventing unintentional operation of a system. I'll take it back again. Lockout and tagout is preventing unintentional operation of a system. Like I said, operation now will be either switching on the system or switching off the system. Now, while we prepare to carry out our isolation, or while we prepare to provide our lockout and tagout to our system, first and foremost, what you have to do is we have to prepare for the shutdown. By preparing for the shutdown, which is ensuring that you understand the energy source that needs to be isolated, is very important. So once you are able to identify the energy source that needs to be isolated, now you start looking at where do we have the isolating point. This is all about preparation. So you're preparing for the shutdown or preparing for isolation. Once you're done now with the preparation stage, now you move over with notifying now the affected parties. So affected party could be the executing party as well as the end users, those that are using that system and those that are to carry out maintenance on that system. So these are all the affected parties. So once you're done with notifying them, now you now move on with the actual shutdown. So you've already understood the energy source that need to be isolated, as well as you've been able to identify the isolating point. So once you move with that, now you now start talking of actual shutdown. So when you shut down the system, the next point now will be checking if we have the total energy of that system is equal to 0, which is the original intent of isolation. So now when you check, of course, you might still have some kind of residual energy. As such, now we move over to de-energization. With de-energization now, the system to actually confirm that the total energy of the system will be equal to 0 is very important. Once you are done with confirming that, which is de-energization, and now you have the total energy of the system equal to 0, applying the lockout and tagout. Like I said, lockout and tagout is providing a physical lock to a system, as well as putting a tag to it, which stands as an information. Now, once you're done with the lockout and tagout, now you can go ahead signing the EIC or the EICC, which is Energy Isolation Certificate. So once you're done with that, now you now notify the executing party saying that you are done with isolation, as well as providing a physical lock, as well as a tag, which is lockout and tagout. It's very important. So once you're able to do all this, like I said again, I'll keep saying it, it is not a standard procedure which you should be following. And it's all about, depending on different companies, they have different procedures at which they follow as far as lockout and tagout is concerned. The whole idea about it is let's carry our job safe. Let's carry out our job safe and ensuring that no one is being harmed. This is very important. Until then, you're watching Makoga Enterprises.